Welcome to the House of Legends podcast, where great women become exceptional. I am your host, Graciela, founder and CEO of the House of Legends by Graciela, a mindset coach and mother of three beautiful kids. My mission and passion is to provide you with the tools that will allow you to unlock and bring out the best version of yourself, which is the key to all change. Some of those tools are mindset, identity work, and emotional mastery. Not only that, but I will also bring you powerful conversations with legends like you, showcasing their journey, life work, and allowing us to learn from their experiences and insights. So don't miss an episode. Tune in each week to the House of Legends podcast and let's unlock the power of your own legend. Let's dive in today's episode.
Because of how I live, I just know things come in exactly as they should, and I totally manifested you. So thank you for having me because my whole thing, it really is about women
Yeah.
stepping into the best version of themselves, being able to step into their full power and allow their gifts and what they're truly meant to do, their purpose in this world, allowing those gifts to flow through them so that they can make deep impact. Because really, the woman that I serve in the absolute deepest way, she is the high performing woman. She's the woman that desires to be the best version of herself in every area of her life. When she's home with her family, she wants to be fully present
Yeah.
with her children, if they need to, have a tutor or they need therapy, or she is there for it. She's emotionally connected to her family. When it's date night, she wants to be fully present with her significant other and really pour into that relationship. But when it comes to work and it comes to, whether she's an entrepreneur, a high level executive, whatever it is she's doing, even if she's not monetizing her gifts at that time, at that season of life, she really is very forward thinking and very open. And she may also feel a little bit lonely because not every woman has those feelings of wanting to be the best version of themselves, like really wanting to grow and kind of leaning into the uncomfortable. But what I love about working with this woman is that because she is so of growth mindset, that once we begin working together, I'm really going from she's working on the inside, I'm going from the outside in and helping her to amplify all the work that she's doing. And so, really, the clothing and the styling and the fashion and the beauty, that's the vehicle for getting her to next level.
Oh, just I really love that so much.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's on a high level, that's really what it is I'm doing. What I'm helping women do is to align their wardrobes with this woman that they are so ready to step into, but perhaps they can't imagine it. So maybe they can, they have goals, they have desires, they're thinking about, okay, 2025, it's my year, I'm going to achieve this, I'm going to, take my business to the next level. It's a rebrand. I'm doing my podcast. I'm, going to serve a bigger audience or whatever it may be. But she feels it even like she knows that she can get there, but she doesn't see what she looks like there.
Oh yeah,
So there's different aspects to, to really closing the gap between where you are and where you desire to be. And as we know, Graciela, we're both in the same type of world where we understand, we can call it manifesting, but really what we're doing is envisioning the life that we desire, and we deserve to have that vision, right? And so, there's so much education out there right now about, envisioning where we want to go, right? And then creating our thinking around that woman. Like, how does let me just give you an example. How does the seven-figure earner think? How does the seven-figure earner that's on a stage, right? A huge, massive stage, speaking to thousands and thousands of people, how does she think and how does she feel? And we're learning these things. It's out there now. Like, you do this with your clients. My piece is, what does she look like when she's thinking this and feeling this? And when we can take that piece and put it there, this is where the magic is. So I really help women to go in their wardrobe once they have that vision, once they have that feeling. And maybe she doesn't have that feeling yet, but she desires that feeling, and we can really dive in and talk about what that looks like and feels like. And we can go in our wardrobe and pull out and extract the pieces that align with that woman. And then from there, my role really is holding the space with her to really go there, to look at fit and fabric and luxury fit and fabric that highlights all the best parts of her.
This sounds so deep. And some of the parts that you mentioned are really key when, especially us working with high achievers, with mentors, with coaches, healers, like workers. We doing the inner work. We are thinking about we're changing our thought process or decision making, how we feel, which is the vibration that we're in, our
Mhm.
actions. But when I think the exercises sometimes they get to be really they don't go into the depth that you're taking us right now because it's like how does she dress, and sometimes we have an idea, but let me tell you here as well, and I think this is a part of the work that you get to do, and this is so exciting. You help us to actually integrate this new self-image because we can change our self-image, in the same self-image as well as how we think or how we feel and act, but the
Yeah.
self-image and express it, make a match to the exterior, to how we look, because we can have this, and I call it like this tiger or this, I don't know, like depends on what animal to identify with yourself with, or a persona, you name it, or like an
Yeah.
alter ego. You can feel it literally in your bones, but when it
Yeah.
comes to pick that dress or pick something, it's like, oh, the all self-image kick in, like, oh no,
Yeah.
that doesn't look good on you. That color is too bold. This and that.
Yeah.
I think having someone like you that can see beyond the current self-image, or
Yeah.
actually can help us to close that gap, is
Yeah.
just priceless. Because I was so sharing as well with Jessica that once we enter into a process, and I know you have different processes, other women as well, it's not only an external change. I think, and many of us, and I'm not putting every single one, if you made a change in you, you feel the psychological, the the mental shift. You feel
Yeah.
different, and
Yeah.
it's like a giving more volume on your confidence. I don't know if that makes sense, but
Yes.
yeah, it's
Yes.
magical to experience that.
Yes. And, just to kind of give you a little bit of background, I believe that we all have a gift. We're all born with a gift to share with the world, and it's whether or not we choose to lean into that. I
Mm.
truly believe that when we are children, it's how we play and how we imagine that that really is the life that we're supposed to be leading so that we can share our gift, right? And so I grew up thinking that my love of fashion and beauty was superficial. And I think a lot of high performing women think this as well. They think that that loving fashion and beauty or even wanting help with it makes them superficial in some way. They should be focusing their intention and attention on the internal. There's so much talk now about priming your days and getting up and moving your body, meditate. I jump in a cold tub every
Oh,
morning, and journal or pray, whatever your faith is. But then there's this missing step. because it's really about connecting
Yep.
connecting all the pieces to be the best version of ourselves, right? The missing step is the suiting up and the showing up. So what I mean by that is after you prime your day and do all the things, you get up, get your mind right, you put your thoughts on a page, you get your body connected and moving, and so that everything can start moving body and mind. Then the other piece is getting ready for the day, going in the shower and with intention, shave
Mhm.
your legs if it's day 4 and you're going to wear a dress that day. Wash your hair and do it with love and caring for yourself. Get out of the shower, put on your skincare. If you wear makeup, put on your makeup and walk into your closet and put on an outfit that makes you feel amazing. If it's a Monday morning, put on your best dress and look in the mirror and know that you are worthy of putting on amazing pieces on your body, not for anybody else, but for you, so that it can raise that level of how you feel about yourself and can amplify all the other work that you're doing. And I know you haven't asked me a question here, but I wanted
Yes,
to
of
like
course.
share where this comes from in
Yes.
me, because I do believe that we serve the woman that we once were in the best way,
Oh,
the deepest way. And I grew up with no electricity, no running water. We had an outhouse. My job every morning was to take a pee potty that my family had peed in throughout the night and take it to the outhouse and dump it out. I lived in Maine. My parents were hippies. They desired to be off the grid and live off the land. So in the summer, we had all of our fruits and vegetables growing in the garden in our front yard. And then we would can those fruits and vegetables, and that was our food source for the winter. And during all this time, I felt like I didn't belong there. I thought,
Mm,
why was I born into this life with these people? And I don't feel like I was meant to be here. And what I would do as a young child is I would go into my closet and I had this full-length mirror. And I was an only child up until my parents divorced, and we had a blended family, and my sister was born when I was 11.
yeah.
But my first part of my childhood, I would go into my closet and pick out my clothes, and they were from Salvation Army. They were
Mhm.
not they were not designer clothes. And I'd put these clothes on, these articles of clothing, and I'd look in the mirror and I'd make outfits. And I would pretend that I was at all these parties, and I pretended that it was like inclusive and I was around other people that were like me. And I felt beautiful and I felt included and I felt magical. And it was like this whole imaginary world. And I did not have a television. I would listen to stories on the radio before I could read. And I learned how to close my eyes and envision things and see things. And so I had such an imagination. And I learned later on that my imagination was my superpower, that I
Mm,
could hold space with other women and imagine a life for them that perhaps they couldn't even imagine and see when they close their eyes, because not everyone thinks that way.
yeah.
And I used fashion and beauty not just for my entertainment. I also used it as an escape for trauma and things that I was going through in my life. That my early years were very hard, and my teenage years became even more difficult. I moved to Canada, to Winnipeg, Manitoba, which is where my dad moved to when my parents split up. And I wanted to move there so I could get out of this small town where I didn't feel that I belonged. So I went to what I thought was like the big city in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, and went to live with my dad, who lived with his mom. And I did not realize that I was being sent to my mom's abuser. I didn't understand it at 16. And I used clothing and fashion and beauty as a way to escape and disassociate from that abuse. And at that time that I learned how to dress other women. My
Mm.
desire was to work retail. That is really what I wanted. That's why I went to the city. That's why I moved in with my dad. Not that I was close with him. I wanted to work retail. And so I did. I got on a bus for the first time, a city bus. Never been on a city bus. I was terrified and had to make a connection. I had to switch buses and go to the furthest mall in the city to like get this job, this retail job. And I had my resume typed out on like a very old typewriter. I had on my black nylons, like, and I had this black suit on, and I had high heels, and went around the mall, and I had no experience. So no one, and it like I didn't realize that people weren't going to want to hire me necessarily right away because I didn't have any retail experience. And but I had so much enthusiasm, and I got to the second floor of the mall, and it was like the furthest store in this little kitty corner little spot. And I walked in with my resume, and I walked up to the manager, and I said, "Are you hiring? I'm dying. Like I want to work retail. I love fashion. I love beauty." And she looked at my resume that was void of any experience. And she said, all right, let's do it. She decided, must have felt my enthusiasm. And then Graciela, unbeknownst to me, I had just been hired at a woman's plus size clothing store. And I was this skinny, scrawny 16-year-old girl, and I had never dressed a
Well,
full figured woman. And I also didn't know that other women had insecurities about their bodies.
mm,
And so my first day went in and realized that the women didn't want my help. And this is like 1993.
okay.
And so at that time, it was all about women suiting. And like these executive women were coming in, and like I was trying to help them with this women's suiting, and they didn't want my help. And so I'd greet them, and literally they'd put their hand up, like, I don't want your help.
Mm. And how you were able to move from that?
Okay, so that was tricky. Um, I had been there for about 3 weeks, and it was very defeating. And I remember I was on the bus on my way this one particular morning, and I thought how I'm approaching these women, clearly it's not working. Like I have to do something differently, but I'm not sure what it is. With my life experience, I didn't know. I didn't have the answers. And so this woman walks in, and just like every time before, no, I don't need any help. I don't want your help. And I watched her, and just like every other woman I had watched walk around the store and grab all these clothes and go in a fitting room and walk out, and they would like look at themselves in the mirror, and I would see them look in the mirror, and they would focus on areas that they didn't love about their body. Like you could just see the shame. And I had never seen other women look in a mirror before. And they'd leave with nothing. And so, same thing, I watched her, and she walked around the store. She gathered all this stuff. She went in the fitting room. She came out and she looked in the mirror, and I saw her take a big sweater and put it over her body like was shameful of her body. And I thought, oh, I just want to help her. And she went to leave the store with nothing. Everything's in the fitting room, like big pile.
Yeah.
And she goes to leave. And I said, excuse me. And she didn't answer. And I was like, excuse me. And she's walking out the door, and she turns around. And I said, I know that you must have come here for a purpose. And I know I can help you. Like you drove all the way to the furthest mall in the city, in the way back of the mall. You walked all the way up here, and clearly you didn't find what you wanted or what you needed. Why don't you give me a try? My name is Jessica. What's your name? And she said, my name is Kathy. All right, I'll give you a try. And so I said, okay, I know what I know that I can do this for you. What do you have coming up? And she had this seminar that she was going to be doing. And so I grabbed all these clothes and I knew exactly because I had imagined what I was going to put on women. Like I had imagined the clothes on their bodies and all of it and how I was going to highlight their best features. And so I put the clothes in the fitting room and I had her put on this fitted like black pant and black it was like a shell kind of thing and it was fitted. She goes, I don't know about this, but I'll try it. So she comes out of the fitting room. She's wearing the fitted black pants and the camisole, or not camisole, the little shell. And I see her eyes, same thing. She looks in the mirror at her midsection, her backside, and I could see her looking with shame. And I said, no, just Kathy, just wait. And I put on this long duster sweater on her. And like I stood in front of her, put the long duster sweater, a long necklace at that time, these long necklaces were in, and I put a scarf around her like this that had black, but also some florals in it and all kinds of pretty colors, and put on some shoes. And I moved from the mirror and watched her look in the mirror and her eyes filled with tears.
Mm.
And she turned and she looked at me and she said, I have never felt this way before. And I never knew it was even possible.
Yeah.
I don't know how you did this, kid, but clearly you got something here.
Mm.
And that was my like I believe that transformations and they happen in moments. And if you're paying attention, if you're awake and you're conscious of it, you can feel it and you can
Mm.
lean in, right? And that was my moment. And I'm not saying I leaned in because I still had this feeling I thought I was superficial.
Mm.
And until I realized the power of it. And after all these years of serving thousands and thousands of women and watching these transformations and how their relationships would deepen when I would work with them and get them prepared for a trip, and then they'd come back and they'd tell me all these beautiful stories and how they are experiencing joy and I knew that I had to do this in a deeper way.
Yeah, and one of the things that I want to mention a few things because the the place or the beginning of you, it was just mind blowing, even for me. Well, I was feeling the chills right here, and I'm in Texas, so Texas is hot.
I saw your face. I saw your face.
But I mean, and I there has so much components here because sometimes, and I do believe that we are and I know you are also in the spiritual realm. We are souls having a human experience, so we choose our family, and that sometimes sucks because we was like how what I was thinking. I was too brave to just to sign up the contract to come to work. But I think we should choose our families or that actually will allow us to move that gift, because if we were to born in a family that has all together and that supports, maybe our path will be taking another route, but when we choose our family, which is our family before, we choose that family with purpose. And maybe by you choosing or by me choosing a family that really didn't feel like home, like what I'm doing here. It's like I'm thinking different, I feel different. It's because it was that gift that it was about to just taking shape. And also one of the things that you mentioned is the misconceptions or the actually yeah misconceptions and bullshit beliefs that many people think have about fashion, about looking good, and it's all about them. I think there it is also, I did have a conversation yesterday about money, about not only money, wealth, like having like really assets working for you as a woman. And many of us, including myself in the past, we thought like that is ambitious, that is something that I want to offer my gift, but I I don't want to talk about money, or money is gonna come, and yeah, it's gonna come. But it's important to understand that those are just topics. And if I have an opinion, a heavy opinion, it's all about me, and it's about my belief system, my own lens, the paradigm
Yeah.
where I'm coming from. It's not about the thing itself. It's the meaning
Yeah.
that I give to that. And I think by you are changing this whole paradigm in the way that people think.
Yeah.
One of the things that I love beauty, like, and I think
Mhm.
this was after 2014 when I reinvented myself, and I think uh, that has a correlation here with what you do as well. When we see ourselves in a different way, we remove so much bullshit that we carry on from other people, like,
Yeah.
and we give
Yeah.
ourselves that permission to really become or coming back home to who we really are. Their fashion, money, and especially with those topics, women can feel really like fragile or don't wanting to shop or talking about really openly. I want to make $1 million this year. I want to make $2 million, 2 million without any because I'm helping because it's
Yeah.
that because has to be erased. Like just the fact $1 million because I desire it, because it's calling me. That's it. I don't have to have an excuse because for men they don't have an excuse like I'm making $5 million a year because of this. They don't. I don't know if you see the correlation. There's no because, and there's no
Oh,
always.
absolutely.
And for women, it's like, oh, people are gonna think about your gifts, and you're doing all of this for the money. No, you know what? It's only a transition. I'm providing a transformation, and
Yeah.
the people that are ready to have this kind of conversations and transformations are going to come, and they're the ones that are not ready, they're
Yeah.
not ready. And even if they put their opinion through the comments, I'm gonna erase those comments. I'm not even gonna engage. But it's
You know, it's really interesting what you said, Graciela, about giving yourself permission.
yeah,
And you know why? There's a reason why women don't give themselves permission. And when you said give yourself permission, it's really giving yourself permission to claim it, to claim that thing, to claim what you know, because I believe we all have a knowing, an
yeah,
intuitive knowing of who we're meant to be. But if we don't take that pause and that give ourselves that permission to have that pause and really claim what it is, um, then we deny those that truly need our gifts to
yeah,
experience them. And I think as women, when we can realize that, because I remember the moment that I had that spiritual awakening of a knowing that if I didn't lean in to what I knew I was meant to do, that I wasn't making the impact I needed to on others. Um, I think when you can really go there and realize that, that's when you can claim it. But what I realized, Graciela, is that the problem that I'm truly solving for women, the problem that I'm solving isn't about their fashion. The problem I'm solving is the problem of unworthiness,
yeah,
of investing in yourself. And so when a woman knows she's meant for more, but she may not feel worthy of making the 7 figures or 8 figures. She may not feel worthy of putting luxury clothing on her body and really showing up, being seen and highlighting all her best areas and investing in herself, but she knows she's meant for more. That woman has to make the decision that even though she feels slightly unworthy, right? And it's uncomfortable, that she chooses to make the change, that she chooses to trust that there are other people that can hold the space with her for her to really step fully into it. And so, you know, I think as an entrepreneur, women that are high performing, they're high level executives, they're in these positions where they want to control the outcome of things because they're so driven to do that. And I think when we can let go of that and allow, once we put the effort in, allow things to unfold exactly as they're supposed to, then that's when everything kind of lines up.
yeah. And I will love to highlight this part when you said about having someone that can hold the space because many of us we have the idea we want to do something different,
Yeah.
and sometimes we ask our best friend or I don't know
Yeah.
significant other, and they have an image of ourselves that is outdated, that is not new, that is just like that it comes from the past. And
Right.
when we have someone that can see, like I mentioned before, the big picture, that they have a amazing imagination like yourself, and I think that is one of the gifts that we will have. Of course, that is one of the highest faculties, but I would have as common now in my human design. I do have that as a gift. That is one of my part of my life purpose to see beyond that, and I think you have one of the most powerful ones, as I can tell. Um, you can help them to, like you said, move despite the quote unquote feeling on the temporary one feeling of unworthiness, and
Yeah.
see what is possible for them. And like I said before, it's not just about um, clothes. It's about going back home to that woman and bringing the inside work that we are doing in the dailies to the outside, to having this
Yeah.
match. And when we do that, I think that not only more money gonna come, not only more opportunities, but the way that you get to feel on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Would it be okay if I shared a little bit about the mission and like what we're doing?
Yeah,
Because I just want to, if it's okay, to share a
yeah,
little bit about the evolution of the company.
of course.
Um, because we talked before we got on live here and started with the podcast, we were having our little conversation ahead of time about because we both have a very strong why. And
Yeah.
we know that we have a mission behind the work that we're doing. And I do believe that this is a movement. And so, and I also believe that, because I don't follow what other fashion stylists are doing. I know based on the work that I've done for many years, I know what works. And I know, my why of really helping women step into this next level. And I also know the fashion world can be a shaming kind of world, right? It can be when women are spending their time when they don't have a lot of time as this high performer, and they do have some time and they're scrolling on Instagram or all these places and seeing other influencers put these articles of clothing on, and they can like click and buy the item, right? And then they get the piece in and they try it on in the mirror and they're going, it didn't look this way. There must be something wrong with me. I just don't believe that there are these exterior ways of discovering what our style is. Even though it's wonderful to have the inspiration of social media and all of these things, I think it's more of an internal thing and a being curious about what you love and trying different things on, and feel what resonates with you, and then really seeing your body as a whole body, not looking to somebody else like, oh, well, I wish that I had this waist or I was this size or whatever. And so really what I'm working on doing as creating this movement, as I'm going to call it, is
Yeah.
after working with women for so many years one-on-one, and I'm still doing that. But I want to serve. I said to myself in 2020, beginning of 2024, deeper, not wider. Like, I can't
Oh,
serve as many women at one time, one on one, but I had to think of a way to serve deeper, a smaller amount, one on one. And then on a bigger scale, how could I help more women step into this? I'm one person, right? And so I realized we needed to create this app. So we have an app that was custom made, and it's interesting because I did research ahead of time. Like, do other stylists have apps? Like, I was trying to do market research and I couldn't find anything. And I thought, I'm just going to close my eyes and imagine it, just like I've done every other thing in my life. And I just felt so called to create this platform, this really safe container, of a space where we can bring all the women that really desire to be this best version, that want the fashion and the style and want to step into, this next version of self and really have some tools around how to align their wardrobe with that woman. And so we have this space. It's a community of like-minded women. And there's all kinds of fashion resources. We do have a digital course, and some people just go ahead and buy the digital course and do it for themselves because I want to be able to, again, I want to be able to serve more, meet women where they are. But
Yeah.
in this community space, we do live webinars. It's actually become a mastermind
Mm.
where we have networking events. So monthly, like getting all the women together, and as that, high performing woman that's a leader and may feel slightly lonely because they're serving so many people. It's like this safe container where they can, share some of the challenges that they're going through and some of the wins too, and perhaps how they can pour into the other women in this space to really, help one another to rise. And that's my word of the year, rise. Rise up, right? Rise together. Bring this frequency, this high frequency that these women have, and bring it all together to this like ascension. That's the only word that I can think of. And amplify the work they're doing and really how they're showing up, like physically, but also how they can help each other to achieve these things and get there and realize their worthiness and realize that to make these seven figures and eight figures, how important that is because they deserve to feel that joy. They deserve to have the things they want, but they can also serve deeper when they have the funds to do that. And so it's this beautiful place. And we also have live guest expert speakers. So we'll have to bring you in, Graciela, into the space to speak. And then and we do that monthly, and then we have live demonstration where I kind of dive deeper into each lesson of the course and show women how to style themselves. The last one we did, it was called the in-between. In that space, yeah, the in-between is like kind of what we're doing right now. It's like when you're on Zoom calls all day and some people don't have their pajama pants on the bottom. Like I really like teach them how to show up in the in between, in the space of like, you don't want to look like you tried too hard because you're not stepping on a stage, but you want to show up in life and you want to show up for yourself and for your clients and all of that. So that's kind of our space, but I just wanted to share it because we were sharing about this movement, and I believe this is the trajectory of where fashion is going, is integrating the inside with the outside.
Yeah, and I really love it because, like you said, so many of us we love the interaction, the one-on-one, but as a business owners, we have certain capacity to do that as well. To because
Yeah.
we grab many one-on-ones I want, but to serve at the deepest level, it has to be not, I don't like to use as well limited, but we have to be mindful as well as our energy and the people that are really committed. But when it comes to serve in a way that feels still deep, I think that the idea of the app, and might as well we all have our phones. So let's be
Yeah.
real. One thing that most of the time we have with us, even if we are really busy doing amazing things here or with the kids, we have our phone. And having this monthly call, and I think we all have that hour, 2 hours. I don't know how long is that call, monthly call to give to ourselves. And when we have, like you said, this space where more women are doing or are pursuing the same thing, we don't feel alone and we feel like we're belonging to something. And
Yeah.
yeah, like I said, this is a movement. It's not even another just program or mastermind. Is a movement, and I think we want to be part of that movement, that part of something huge and part of something that is new to the industry. And I love the fact that you don't see what others are doing because I think we don't need more of the thing, and as well, we don't want to reinvent the wheel, but we want to have something that feels fresh, something that feels excited, something that feels inviting, and something that feels like it's like a new outlet You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I think it's bigger than us. Like the work that we do, it's bigger than us. Like, and we're the vehicle and it's coming through us. And it's not about us really, you know? It's about, to me, it's about rise together. It's about that it's like it's kind of where the magic is, you know? It's a
Mm-hmm.
very it's magical. And sometimes when I try to describe it, it's like hard to describe because of the feeling of it's bigger than me.
Oh. And I do believe as well that when we feel this passion, people can feel that. We can speak 20,000 words, we're going to have a speech all together, but
Yeah.
when people can feel, and the way that we shop, the way that we get, the way that people receive us is way, way different. And as well, you are one of those women, Jessica, that you embody your life work. I don't have to just scroll and lose myself on all the life work that you do. By seeing you, you embody the life work. I don't have to just like, because there's so many people, and I don't want to mention numbers. I will
Yes, yes,
mention
we
names,
know, we know.
but they think they talking about hair. I'm not an expert on hair, right? But the hair is a mess, though. So how I'm gonna trust my hair to someone that, you
No,
know.
your hair looks beautiful. I love your hair licked back like that. You have such a gorgeous face.
And thank you. But when it comes to that, it's like I want to do business or be in a container where the leader, the woman that is helping me, first of all, is treating me as a sovereign leader as well. I don't want to be treated as like a newbie or like, hey, girly. I don't like that. I like someone that is direct, loving, and that you understand me. I think you have that as well, Jessica, that you're not only like, hey, I'm gonna teach you, I'm gonna grab you. No, you treat me as a leader. You treat me as a woman that you know that I'm self-led. I'm gonna take the decision that is correct for me, but you know that I will require support in this area. And when we feel that, this beautiful blend of directness, um, transparency, and also understanding and loving approach as well, we want to belong to that. We want to do business with that woman because if it is too soft or it's a woman like you mentioned before, like a bossy thing, like hey, you're doing that wrong. I don't want to be. I have plenty of criticism that I do towards myself. I don't need that to the third party here, you know. And
Yes,
I think when we're coming with that approach, people receive us from with a different in a different way. In that way, it gets to work like you said. It's a win-win situation. We help others,
abs
we help ourselves, and we help the mission as well. And the mission evolves
absolutely.
with time. And I think being open to have this um, approach of I'm right now I'm doing this in this season, and let's see what is coming in the other season. I think it's a beautiful way as well.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And can I give a gift to your listeners?
Of course, yes, we can actually put it on the notes. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so I think this will go in your show notes, and I want to offer a freestyling call to any of those that are listening to your podcast, because I know the women that listen to your podcast and that follow you, Graciela, and your clients and all that, it is that woman that we're speaking of. Like
Mm.
she's that growth mindset woman that she's comfortable being in the uncomfortable. She wants to stretch herself and grow. And she does have a knowing that she's meant for more and wants to step into that. So I want to offer a freestyling call to all those women that are listening that desire that. And there's other ways that we can work together as well. I work with clients one-on-one. I can serve 15 women at one time. And we have in the space that I'm in, we have our own inventory. So I don't shop at other stores for women. I actually am the store. I'm the boutique and have curated all these beautiful lines. And women that work one-on-one with me also have the ability to have their own app that has all of their clothes in it and all of their outfits. It's like this virtual, like really cool lookbook. So I can share a little bit about that and also help to really put a plan together and give some like actionable steps, some things that she can do right now to really level up her wardrobe.
Oh, thank you so much for this gift. I think
You're welcome.
my listeners as well as me will receive it with so much love, and I think that sometimes we and like I said for the third time, I don't like to use the word need, but sometimes we need that little push, like
Yes.
incentive, like the little spark that can just open up the fire, like start the fire,
Yes.
right?
Because we're worthy of doing these kind things for ourselves. It makes us better versions of ourselves when we invest in ourselves.
Yeah, I one of the things that I want to also combine here when if someone is listening to this podcast and it feels any kind of contraction, like oh, it's all about it's just about the external or materialistic, just pause. Don't I don't want you to just to judge it and ask yourself, why do I feel that way? Just ask with curiosity. It's not about us. When we feel something, and I said this,
Yeah.
and even regarding about money, regarding about fashion, regarding about weight, regarding about business, regarding about numbers, whatever, it's not about the person, the podcast. It's not about something else. It's because something inside you
Yeah.
requires your attention.
Yes.
Take it with a grain of salt. And I'm not gonna say that you have to do it, but I strongly suggest you, if something, for many of you, I know you're receiving this with so much love and with so much open mind. But if you feel any kind of contraction, get curious about yourself because it
Yes.
is something that you can look up and integrate within yourself.
Absolutely.
Jessica, this was fantastic. I think we
Yeah.
require the part two for that. We have so much
Absolutely.
more.
There's
Yeah,
so much more I want to give because
more. There's so much more.
yes.
Like really, and I will ready to do part two. By the way, this podcast, we are I think I didn't mention to you, and I'm gonna mention to the listeners. We did a post as well on the page of the podcast. For this year, we are more intentional with the sense that every single month has a theme. So you're gonna be on February, which is relationship with oneself. So
I love it.
um,
Beautiful.
and I think people can have the opportunity to book for their love of their life, which are themselves, this call and uncover and discover what is next for them as well. And I think it's pretty cool to have that. I think I didn't mention to you, Jessica. I'm just giving you the right here away that it's gonna go on air like in 2 or 3 weeks. So pretty close.
Amazing. Thank you so much for having me. I've thoroughly enjoyed our time together.
I really did as well. By the way, you said my word of the year, and we were mentioning this in the first minutes of the podcast, but actually that is one of the questions that we close up every single podcast. Actually, you have two questions, and you mentioned both, but I want to remark for the people that are listening to this point, what is your superpower and what is your word of 2025?
My superpower is my imagination. My superpower is my ability to hold space with other women that desire something more for themselves and for them to tell me what it feels like to be there and exactly what exactly it is even that they love or that they desire to do. And with my imagination, I can close my eyes and I can see them there and I can see what they're wearing and what they look like and really help them step into that. So that's my superpower. And my word of the year, I know we talked about this already, but it's rise. And this word came to me when I had fallen asleep in the chair watching TV, waiting for my 20-year-old son to come home from work because I still worry about my kids. I was like waiting for him and I fell asleep and I literally like catapulted out of the chair, woke up, and the word was I said it out loud. I said
Right.
rise. I just knew. And this is the year that, I'm going to rise myself personally. I feel so much expansion. But also rise together with the women, not only that are in my community, but that attract to me and that I meet and that I know want more and that I can pour into. So those are my two things.
I love both, and I have to. And like I said, as a manifestor, I just really feel the urge. They call it urge, like the impulse. I would love to extend in your superpower. One of the things that I felt, I felt like this is our first conversation. I after I sent this call DM, like they call it. I was just like, hey, like I'm talking with my best friend. And she's like, hey, do you want to be in my podcast? You're amazing, this and that. And I'm just like that. I'm not I was not thinking about just like, I'm just gonna email this. It's like, no, direct to the point. I just went like
I
that.
love it.
And with the same directness, I want to say that you also have this beautiful gift where you were sharing all your journey, your gifts, the app, the first interaction with that client. I felt this innocence, this child innocence, this wild imagination innocence that I can have it all, And I think that feeling, that essence, not many women can can really express it. And the way that also you are leading is inviting, is attractive. And
Oh,
when
thank you.
I have to say that, like, and as a woman, sometimes we see gifts in another woman and we say it, but sometimes it's like, no, I'm just gonna keep it for myself. But I think when you're confident within yourself, with who you are, might as well just if you see something in the other woman, why might as well express it. So
Oh, thank
I
you. I
keep
appreciate
telling
that
you.
so much. That means so much to me. Thank you.
So welcome. I just felt that, and I think the listeners are able to feel that as well. That innocence, that playfulness, that
Yeah.
attractive energy that is inviting. And thank you so much for never give up and for believing in that girl, as she was able to see her in a bigger way. And now she's here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jessica. And I
Thank
know
you, Graciela.
part two, I'm telling you.
Yes,
A lot
yes.
behind the scenes. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next. Thank you so much for being here. Your presence is greatly appreciated, and it truly means a lot to me. If you could support us by leaving a 5-star review, it will help us to connect with more extraordinary and influential women like you. With that being said, thanks once again, and let's look forward to an amazing and legendary week ahead.